I'm Josh Ryan, licensed professional counselor, and this is your daily rep, a short practice to build emotional control under pressure. Let's get to work. Up to this point in the 30-day discipline run, we've typically focused on control. You've learned how to recognize reactivity. You've learned how to pause. You've practiced silence, intentionally learned to slow your breathing. Think about and then manage your tone. And you've also considered timing. All of those skills do one thing. They stop you from reacting automatically. But stopping a reaction is only half the work. Because once you interrupt the reactivity, a new question appears. What should you do instead? Most people think emotional discipline means suppressing reactions, staying quiet, holding back, avoiding escalation. But discipline is not silence. Discipline is about choice. And once you pause long enough to interrupt your automatic reaction, you now have something powerful in front of you. Options. Without the pause, there are no options. There is only reaction. But with the pause, you can choose how to move next. That's where this pillar begins, choosing your response. And choosing a response requires clarity, because not every situation requires the same response. Sometimes the right response is correction. Sometimes it's curiosity. Sometimes the right response is setting a boundary. And sometimes the right response is simply just letting something go. Reactive people treat every situation the same. Everything becomes confrontation. Everything becomes defense. Everything becomes a debate. But disciplined communicators evaluate the situation first. Then they ask a question. What outcome do I want here? That question changes everything. If your goal is understanding, your response will sound different. If your goal is to offer correction, your response will sound different. If the goal is preserving the relationship, your response will be different. And if the goal is simply ending the interaction, your response will be different to that as well. But without that moment of evaluation, you default to habit. And habit is rarely strategic. Let's make this a little more practical. Imagine someone says something that irritates you. Your instinct might be to correct them immediately, to prove them wrong, to defend and build your position. But after pausing, you might realize something important, that this isn't actually a debate worth having. Or maybe the other person is frustrated about something deeper. Or maybe they misunderstood something that you said. Now your response can be different. Instead of correcting immediately, you have the option to ask a question. Something like, can you explain what you meant by that? That question changes the dynamic. The conversation becomes exploration instead of confrontation. Or maybe the situation does require a correction, but instead of reacting emotionally, you respond calmly. You say something like, let me clarify something. Same content, different delivery. And the difference changes how the message lands. Choosing your response also protects your energy. Reactive people waste enormous amounts of energy arguing, expressing conflict about things that don't really matter. Disciplined people choose their battles more carefully. They ask themselves, is this worth my time? Is this worth my energy? Is this conversation going to move anything forward at the end of it? That awareness prevents unnecessary conflict. It also increases your authority, because when people realize you don't need to react to everything, they start listening more carefully when you do respond. your words begin to carry more weight because those words have become chosen, not automatic. This is where emotional discipline becomes leadership. Leaders don't react to every stimulus. Leaders decide where their attention goes. They decide which conversations matter. They decide which issues deserve energy and resources. And that decision-making process begins with one simple question. What response serves the outcome I want? Today's rep. The next time something irritates you, pause. Take one breath and ask yourself one question before speaking. What response serves the outcome I want? Not what response feels good, not what response proves your point, but what response actually moves the situation forward. That one question can change the direction of an entire conversation. Because once you start choosing responses, instead of reacting automatically, you begin operating with intention. This is the beginning of Pillar 3, choosing your response. And this is where emotional control becomes strategy. If you're serious about building that kind of discipline, stay in the process. We're on day 11 of the 30-day run. 11 reps completed, 19 more to go. If you want to learn more or practice along with the book and workbook, you can go to pauseandrespond.com. Make sure you follow the show so you don't miss the next rep, because tomorrow we'll talk about something that makes responses even stronger. We'll talk about why asking the right question is often more powerful than making the right argument. And remember, less reaction is more choices.